Welcome back to Courtroom Media.
Have you heard the news going around internationally all over the world? You know, P. Diddy, otherwise known as Sean Diddy Combs, the renowned rap icon, business tycoon, has found himself in a serious legal trouble as a grand jury in New York has indicted him on charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. Prosecutors claim that Combs exploited his fame, wealth, and influence to manipulate his victims. In response, Combs' legal representative asserts that these allegations are unfounded. Let's take a closer look at the legal argument presented by both sides in the indictment and the letter submitted to the judge concerning the bail. Not long ago, Combs was celebrated in Times Square, receiving the key to New York City. Today, however, he stands accused in Southern District of New York, facing 3 federal charges. Numerous individuals have come forward in recent months with allegations against Combs. These allegations include abuse, sex trafficking, and drug possession. Now, federal authorities are stepping in, vowing to dismantle what they describe as the Mongols' alleged criminal enterprise. Legal practitioners are busy investigating this case, emphasizing their commitment to prosecuting anyone involved in sex trafficking, regardless of their status or wealth. This is a significant movement in a legal landscape, with all eyes on Sean Diddy Combs, they claimed. Also, the Southern District of New York is dedicated to seek justice for multiple victims who allege that Combs used his power and resources to coerce them into compliance, whether that involved procuring drugs, engaging in sex acts, or cleaning up after such incidents. We've been closely following Combs' situation for months, and we are here to provide you with all this essential information. Cassandra Ventura, Cassandra Ventura, otherwise known as Casey, the Diddy ex, also took a legal action against him, filing a significant lawsuit that accused him of years of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse after she finally managed to escape. Her ex vehemently denied the allegation. Remarkably, just one day after the lawsuit was submitted, it said to Casey directly. However, this event eventually triggered a wave of additional lawsuits against him and even his sons, with claim ranges from sexual abuse to sex trafficking, illegal possession of drugs, and violence. In March of this year, 2024, agents from Homeland Security arrives at Combs' residence in Miami and Los Angeles, armed with search warrant, and conducted raids and uncovered a substantial amount of evidence linked to a sex trafficking investigation in Southern District of New York. While specifics were initially unclear, this week brought new development as Combs was arrested on Monday night at Park Hyatt Hotel in Manhattan. His defense team revealed that he had been staying there since September 5th. Nearly 2 weeks prior, as he anticipated the impending charges. This is significant because Combs asserts that his arrest demonstrates he is not a flight risk. And among the evidences found in P. Diddy's house are packs of hundreds of baby lotions. And you wonder what he is using that for. And another thing he has accused of is trafficking male sex worker, male prostitute to his party, and he used to coerce the lady and using the tactics of asking them to go out with him. And after that, you invite them to a party, or you organize a party and invite them there. And after that, he has to serve his male prostitutes, the girl he brought into the parties. And these are many more. Part of the offense is counted on the neck of P. Diddy. We all know P. Diddy. We all love P. Diddy. But now look at what is going on. Look at what is going on now. Just an example of R. Kelly. Let us watch further in this report
So we don't have to fight anymore.
So here's what happened this afternoon. Diddy appeared in this federal courthouse that you see again right behind me. Now, according to sources inside that building, he appeared stone-faced and uncuffed while at the defense table. His arraignment began around 2:30 Eastern today with some supporters on his side, including his 3 adult sons, that's Justin, Quincy, and Christian. Prosecutors say Diddy is dangerous and used his power, authority, and intimidation to essentially get away with his crimes. Under the indictment, it says, the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Now, during court today, it's been reported the government wants him to be detained ahead of trial. The government argued Diddy set up freak-offs, forcing sex and masturbating during it. He also filmed some of those encounters. He stocked the room with narcotics so that female victims could continue for multiple days. Prosecutors say the defendant committed other physical assaults, kidnapping, and arson. He surrounded himself with and used firearms, including the 3 defaced AR-15s that were seized, 1 in LA, 2 in Miami, in his bedroom closet. Now, while the victim hasn't been named, you can't help but think it's Cassandra Ventura, better known as Cassie, as many of the claims in the indictment echo her November 2023 lawsuit. One argument made by prosecutors was the victim sought to leave a freak-off and he assaulted her. When hotel security was helping the victim leave the hotel, the defendant attempted to bribe the officer with a handful of cash. The guard refused to be bought. The defendant tried to get the video. Now, this echoes the video that was released by CNN just months ago, where Diddy is seen brutally assaulting his then-girlfriend Cassie at an LA hotel around March of 2016. Now, the prosecution argued the video disappeared from the hotel's server. It's not a coincidence, prosecutors say. The cover-up continued for another 7 years. There was a civil suit, again, that alluding to Cassie's lawsuit in mid-November of 2023 that detailed this assault at the Intercontinental Hotel. The defendant denied it, calling it lies. This is what prosecutors are saying inside the courtroom today. Now, according to prosecutors, witnesses they interviewed have universally expressed fear. The defendant has contacted witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas. He contacted at least one victim as well. Now, while Diddy's attorney argue he's not a flight risk, prosecutors actually say the opposite. Now, they argued the defendant is a wealthy man. It allows him to flee quickly and without detection. His counsel has taken steps to minimize flight risks to set up the argument made today. But then his incentives were entirely different, and he flew to New York actually 2 weeks ago. Now, it was reported that about 2 weeks ago, Diddy was actually up in Harlem. It's unclear what he was doing there, but there were reports that he did make that visit around 2 weeks ago. And another shocking development, prosecutors say Diddy had what appeared to be narcotics found in his hotel room just last night. Now, pink powder that previously tested positive for ecstasy and other drugs, and prosecutors say this is a Heartland detention case. Now, the defense asked a judge for Diddy to be given a bail package, which would include posting a $50 million bail using the equity of his home. But prosecutors say the bail package is woefully inadequate. It only focuses on him being a flight risk. Now, federal prosecutors say that they have spoken to over 50 witnesses. They have sworn out warrants for cloud accounts. The search has yielded 90 cell phones and 30 other devices, including a surveillance system, and the freak-offs were corroborated. Now, meanwhile, the defense said they could tell the indictment was coming in the fall of last year. After federal agents raided Diddy's Miami and LA home in March, defense counsel took Diddy's passports, and anytime he traveled, they actually told prosecutors. That's what the defense says. Now, if you remember from our previous coverage here at Law and Crime, we had reported that Diddy was out kind of gallivanting over this summer, essentially. He was seen in South Florida riding his bike, going to the beach, hanging out with friends. He was seen in LA. He was seen white water rafting in Wyoming. Now, the defense says that prosecutors knew anytime that Diddy was traveling domestically because essentially they wanted to build that trust with prosecutors to ensure that he wouldn't be a flight risk. But the defense argued the raids were frightening. Again, those raids happening in March of just this year. Now, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said that the March 25th raid that happened this year were frightening. He says that lasers were pointed at his children. They were marched out in front of the house with news reporters and helicopters, handcuffed for 2 hours. And again, the children that they're discussing right now is Justin and Christian Combs, who were there and present at Diddy's LA home. And they were completely innocent throughout this all. No criminal charges or anything has come about from that case. And they didn't want the raids or anything like that to happen again. At the time of the raids, his attorneys, his being Diddy's, issued a statement in part saying that the raids against both of his homes, again in LA and Miami, were essentially an overzealous use of military level force. The defense went on to say Mr. Combs flew to New York to say, "You want me? I know you want me. Here he is." While worried that he did have an airplane, the defense says that they do have to sell it. There is a financial management company that deals with these types of issues, so they're trying to, again, sell Diddy's private jet to, again, assure that he's not a flight risk. Now, when it comes to the charges, Diddy's attorney argued there's one victim in count 2, the sex trafficking charge. Mr. Combs wrote a very large check to someone he was in a relationship with for 10 years. And then the defense argued that people got in line for checks. He had no idea. 12 victims. Again, this is all alluding to the sexual misconduct lawsuits that Diddy still faces. And the defense says, "I didn't know. I'm happy there's only one." He went on to argue that the case is manageable. Pretrial services says that he has a criminal record, but he was acquitted. He's ready to do that again. So what is Mr. Combs doing in New York City? He, being the defense attorney, says he's here for treatment and therapy. But again, prosecutors say just yesterday, narcotics were allegedly found in his hotel room. Back to the victim in this case, Diddy's attorney argued Mr. Combs is not a perfect person. They say the toxic relationship between the two, again, it's victim 1, but alluding to kind of the lawsuit that happened in November of 2023, you can't help but believe that victim 1 is Cassandra Ventura, better known as Cassie. Now, they say these toxic relationships were mutual. Now he's saying that Diddy is essentially trying to be better for the rest of his days. If there's one thing we've seen, we should stand with people who are trying to get the help that they need. Now, Agnifilo argued that the hotel footage found its way out. He says he wondered how that even happened. The defense didn't have it. The government had it. It got out on the day Donald Trump didn't have any court proceedings. Mr. Combs saw it and issued an apology, and he wanted to do that. Now, let's play that apology video for you real quick.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. I had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Now, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, argued 2 people were in that hotel room that day, an issue that Mr. Combs had more than one girlfriend was essentially at the center of the argument that he alleges. Victim 1 was looking through his phone and saw that, then hit him in the head with a cell phone and took his clothing, so he came out of the hotel room in a towel. And again, while Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie, wasn't named in the indictment or mentioned in court by name today, you can't help but, again, wonder, because, again, this mirrors the March 2016 brutal assault video that was released on CNN just months ago, as well as mentions some of the allegations that were also in her federal lawsuit against Diddy that, again, was settled within 1 day of it being filed in federal court. Now, Agnifilo reportedly argued they were in love, but the victim ended up marrying the trainer that Diddy got for her. Agnifilo claims that the two, Diddy and victim 1, were cheating on each other, but the defense says that she has 2 kids now with the trainer. Now, according to the defense, victim
Credit goes to Law and Crime for this extensive report. If you want to hear more or the conclusion of this report from Law and Crime, visit their channel and you'll be able to hear more regarding this particular case. And I will be bringing to you when more development unfold on this matter. This is Chokitable Media. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Like it, share it, and put your comment in the comment section. God bless you as you do. See you next time. Cheers. Don't do what I won't do. Bye for now.